Fuck, are we live? Hello, are we live and can anyone hear me? Okay, maybe I have to check it from my phone. Hi, who is this one person watching me live doing nothing? Today I'm gonna learn database. Sorry, um, चलो झूम झूम चलो झूम झूम सोनिया
Oh,
चलो झूम.
and I want to build it up with you. What sort of data should we store in our first table? Let's start with a grocery list, which you've probably used in real life. I'm pasting an example list, which has 3 delicious items and how much we want to buy of each of them. Our first bit of SQL will be the command to make the table to store this list. I'll write create table in all caps, and then the name of the table, groceries, and then parentheses and a semicolon. We see an error pop up because the SQL interpreter expects to see column names inside these parentheses. What column should we have in order to describe each item on our list? Well, first we need a name for the item, which I'll call name, and we need to follow that with a data type. We have a few options. Let's go for text. If we look on the right-hand side, we can see our new table is listed with 1 column. But we also need to specify how many of each thing to buy, like our 4 bananas. So let's add a quantity column as well. And this will always have a whole number, so let's use an integer for that data type. And now we can see that new column listed in our table. That looks pretty good if we're thinking about what data we have in this grocery list, but we're missing something that we need in databases, a unique identifier for each row. We almost always need unique IDs for each row in a database because we need a way to identify rows later when we're updating or deleting them and not be dependent on other columns because those could change. We typically specify this ID column first, so I'm moving my cursor before name. I'll call this column ID, so that's standard, and then for the data type, I'll have to write this phrase, integer primary key, which signals to the database that it should treat this as the row identifier and that each row must have a unique value for this column. Okay, now we have our groceries table with 3 columns in it. It's empty though, so let's put some data in it. We'll write insert into, and then the table name, groceries, then values, and then parentheses. And here we start listing the column values in the order that we declared the columns. The first column was ID, so I'll put 1, so we haven't used that ID yet. The second column is name, so I'll write bananas. And the third column was quantity, so I'll write 4. Do you see how the schema updated on the right and now says that there's one row in the groceries table. So our insertion worked. Let's add the next two items and just doing the same thing. Insert into groceries, values, two peanut butter. I want just one of those because I eat too much. And insert into groceries, values, 93, dark chocolate bars have to be dark. Milk chocolate is not even chocolate. And we'll get two of those. Okay, so it says 3 rows, but to really see that the database actually contains data, you can click the table name on the right. This will insert a select statement in your code. And don't worry too much about this now because we'll get to it in the next video. If you want, you can pause the talk through and try clicking the table name yourself to see what happens. That's it. That's all we needed to create our first table and add data to it. It's pretty cool, huh? In the next section, we'll see how to get the data back out of the table in more interesting ways.
I think I'm hungry.
We're back with our groceries table, but we've expanded on it a bit. It now has a column for which aisle number we can find the item at the supermarket, plus we've added a few more items. Now you can really see the power of SQL in different ways that you can retrieve data from your database. And this is also where it can get a bit tricky. To start off simple, how would we retrieve all the rows from our table? To perform any query, we write select, and then which columns we're interested in, like the name, and then from, and the table name that we're selecting from. And we can see a list of the groceries on the right under that results section. But what if we want all of the column names? We can just replace name with star. And that was also the query that got inserted when you click the table name, which you might remember from the first talk through. This list is out of order though. If we went from top to bottom at the store with this list, we'd have to keep changing aisles. We'd rather have it ordered by aisle so that we can be more efficient at the store. To do that, we can just add an order by clause to our query, specifying which column we want to order by. That's better. Now we can get our ingredients faster. But to be even more efficient, my brother and I like to shop together and split the store so that I shop in half the store, he shops in the other half, and we meet at the checkout. There are 12 aisles at this grocery store, so for my list, I just want to know which items are in aisles 6 through 12. Well, anytime we want to filter results out, we can use a where clause.
Just in case anyone watched this video, I'm now hungry and I'm gonna get my food. So yeah, that was it. Maybe I would live stream my study session again. Bye. And yeah, this is for my memory. The date is 20th of August 2022.